I love you. Here we go. Welcome back to another edition of The House that Alan Built. This is episode 23, and I'm Scott Kinmartin. With me, as always,
Greg Vollmer.
We're going to talk about the Buffalo Bills playing at home at Highmark Stadium against the New York Jets. Hopefully they get some revenge.
J-E-T-S. Suck.
Last time you did that, we lost 20-17.
Yeah, well, it's not going to happen again.
I hope not, because this time it's in Buffalo.
Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, can't fool me again.
Okay, Bush. Well, the Bills are 5-1 against the Jets the last 3 years.
I am feeling good about this. I'm feeling much better about it now that we're, 2-3 weeks removed from the first time we played the Jets and lost to them. My prediction is the Bills win 33-20 with some maybe a late kind of garbage touchdown by the Jets to make it look closer than it was.
We played them November 6th, and we were 10.5-point favorites. This time, it is the Bills favored by 9.5 at home.
Yep.
So they're favored by less at home because they lost last time against them. The over-under is 44.5 combined points, and I predict that the Bills win 31-15. It's an odd score. For whatever reason, my gut was saying 5 field goals, and that we don't let them score. Although Garrett Wilson could, anything could happen.
There you go. We both got the Bills winning. That's the most important part.
You picked them to win by 13. I said 16, which, I think I've picked the Bills almost every game this year, if not all but one. And really, 8 points makes the difference.
Yeah.
Really. They are number one in the AFC. And now that Miami dropped this past weekend, they are second in the AFC East. And I want to say 6th seed in the AFC. The Bengals beat the Chiefs, so we moved up to the number 1 seed. And I'm happy about that. Last time the Bills played the Jets, Josh Allen was our only weapon with 86 yards on the ground, and Diggs was our only weapon in the air, 93 yards receiving. Nobody else had over 33 yards, and nobody else ran for much. Singletary, I don't think he had much of a game.
Allen was our biggest weapon and our own worst enemy.
Good
turning
point.
the ball
Good
over
point.
in key positions down in the red zone.
He did have 205 yards in the air, but no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He did score twice on the ground with those 86 yards, but I'm hoping that Allen has been a lot better recently as far as red zone offense and not turning the ball over. So we'll see. He had a strip sack for a fumble last week, but that really wasn't his fault. He was blindsided after Quessenberry blew his assignment. Wilson was playing last time, and he was mistake-free. That was the difference in the game, and he will not be playing this time.
This Jets loss is it's this year's version of the Jaguars loss last year, where you wonder how they lost to the Jaguars led by a head coach that had no business being a head coach, and then this year we lose to the Jets led by Zach Wilson, who now magically within 3 weeks since losing to them, the whole team has seemingly turned on him. Talk through the media, kind of tongue in cheek. There's been some digs thrown at him, and about his
There will be a lot of digs.
There's some jabs. Yeah, there's been some jabs, kind of not so subtly thrown at him and in his leadership or lack thereof. And then you've got the whole team this week embracing Zach White,
White.
Excuse me, the whole team.
Zach White was my kicker in college.
Nice. And you got the whole team embracing Mike White this week and wearing T-shirts, and then you've got Garrett Wilson, I believe it was, after the game, saying that there's just something about Mike White that they would go to battle with him or go to war with him.
Probably because he'll hold himself accountable rather than being like.
As an offense, though, I mean, when you guys are only able to score 3 points, the defense only lets up 3 points. I mean, do you feel like you let the defense down at all?
No. Had nothing to do with me. We didn't lose because of me.
Yeah, I guess what I'm getting at is I do understand how we lost. It was because we turned the ball over in the red zone multiple times. But it's also like, how did we lose to a team that were maybe already giving up on their quarterback at the time Zach Wilson?
He was 18 of 25 for 154 yards. He had 1 touchdown, no interceptions. I said he had no turnovers, but he did. He had a fumble because he had 5 carries for 24 yards and a fumble. So
yeah.
Maybe Mike White will be, I don't know, the inspiration they need, but it didn't look that great against the Vikings. He had moments where it reminded you that Zach Wilson is not in there. In fact, he was in street clothes. He will not be playing in this game, but it might be Joe Flacco. I think they stick with Mike White because that's what the team's gravitating towards. So.
Yeah, I think they will stick with Mike White as well. And this the game against the Vikings.
The 27-22, yeah, it was close.
It was, and speaking of turnovers in the red zone, it could have been closer than it was, and it could have been a Jets win. They did have some opportunities, and they had a lot of field goals, that of drives that got stopped short in the red zone, or just before the red zone. So after I was watching the highlights again on that, I mean, it just made me realize that, look, they still have a legit top 5 defense. Sauce Gardner did a great job of containing Justin Jefferson for most of the game.
Until the very end when it mattered most.
Yeah,
but...
their cornerbacks and safeties are a problem. Their defensive line is obviously a problem. So, they still have an elite defense. And Mike White, if they would have converted a few of those field goals into 6 points, you would have been talking about a different outcome. Thankfully, they did lose to the Vikings. But it's not going to be easy. But I feel a lot better knowing that we've got our first home game in almost a month.
Yeah, the Vikings had swept the AFC East, so I mean they were a good team. We could have beat them as well. That didn't work because of also turnovers. But the Bills are on a 3-game winning streak, whereas the New York Jets had a 4-game winning streak, and then after that they've lost 3 of their last 5. It's been win loss. So
yep.
We'll see where it goes.
Speaking of offense, do you think we are going to be able to have a balanced attack like we've kind of had going the last 2 weeks against this defense?
I think the Bills, because it's December now, have prepared and gradually improved the rushing game and prepared for a balanced attack for the playoffs. Because when it gets colder, most quarterbacks can't throw the ball in the air the same way Josh Allen can. But they want that anyways. They've been getting flack for years that they're not balanced. And under Brian Daboll, it was a lot of pass, and it worked. I mean, Josh was throwing for 4,500 yards and completing 65% of his passes. This year, he's roughly the same. It's just cut out the turnovers, and you've got a good team who Josh Allen averages 284 yards in the air, 25 touchdowns and 11 interceptions so far. Singletary, even though he had one less carry than Cook last game, still leads the team in rushing. Actually, I should say finally does, because he just surpassed Allen for rushing.
Mm-hmm.
Allen only had 20 yards last game, and I feel like this time he'll be back up in the 80s like he was last time he faced the Jets. And Stephon Diggs, what else can we say? I mean, 91 receptions,
Mr. Consistent,
1,202 yards, 10 touchdowns in 12 games. I mean, the guy's Mr. Reliable. He's that one that Josh Allen said he trusts with his life. Now we have to see if Davis can step up, if John Brown's going to be acclimated in the system a little more, if McKenzie keeps having catches like he did last game, 5 for 5.
Stephon Diggs is going to get his yardage, and whether he didn't get a touchdown last time against the Jets, and the Jets are stingy, obviously, like we've alluded to. But I think the bigger story is who is going to step up, who's going to benefit from maybe Sauce covering Diggs for most of the game, and then I could see this being a big game for Gabe Davis, kind of that reemergence after he's had some struggles and some criticism.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, the Bills' offense, they're second in points scored still. They are second in total yards per game, fourth in passing, eighth in rushing.
That's good. Eighth in rushing.
Top 10 across the board for the major categories. Now, we talk about the New York Jets offense, and they're 18th in points scored, 23rd in total yards, 21st in passing, and 20th in rushing. So they're in the 20s, for the most part on offense. A lot of that had to do with Wilson. It has looked better under Mike White the last few weeks. It even looked better with Joe Flacco at the beginning of the year. So clearly they're not happy with Wilson. We don't have to worry about him. But it's James Robinson who was traded from the Jaguars to the Jets after Breece Hall went out for the year. So he's on IR. We don't have to worry about him either. Michael Carter's been getting... Yeah. He's been dinged up, but he did have a couple carries, and he's mostly been a receiving back. And now you've got Ty Johnson and Zonovan Knight.
Who is
Where's
a rookie,
all this depth
right?
coming
Zonovan
from?
Knight's
Yes.
a rookie.
Yep.
Yeah, all of a sudden, they sneakily had not only Breece Hall in the draft, but now they got another, maybe a steal in Zonovan Knight, who's been running extremely tough.
In 2 games, he's had 29 rushes for 159 yards. Also, 8 of 8 for receiving, 62 yards. That's in 2 games. So you break that down, you can expect 14 to 15 carries and 3 or 4 catches.
Yep.
And then receivers, Garrett Wilson, he broke out last week. I mean, we knew he was good, but 8 of 15, 162 yards. The only thing is he didn't get in the end zone. So I wonder if it's going to be him, Conklin, Elijah Moore,
Corey
Michael.
Davis.
Yeah, Corey Davis had a good game.
Yeah.
But again, they're getting towards the red zone and they're not scoring. So
That was the big thing with this past game against the Vikings. They definitely did not capitalize on the red zone trips, and hopefully we can take advantage
maybe
of
that's
that.
where I had this gut feeling that they were going to settle for field goals because unless Garrett Wilson, that is, scores on us, I feel like we can stop them. Our defense is very good.
Yeah, and then the
And we're getting
Tyler
back to health.
Conklin, the Jets tight end, he's kind of fallen off lately. Hopefully he doesn't pick the game against the Bills to try to get back on track. I think we can keep him in check.
Yeah.
So yeah, they've got weapons. It's just I feel like the Bills are definitely going to have a chip on their shoulder on this one with how things went, especially Allen with how things went against the Jets in MetLife. And I feel like our coaching staff is good enough to make some adjustments. And then you add in Bills Mafia cheering us on, being loud for with kind of making things a little bit harder on Mike White. Because Mike White's also a rookie, correct?
No. He actually played last year. This was 2 games ago was his first game of the year.
Okay.
Because Flacco had been backing up Wilson. But no, he did play some last year, just not much.
So this is his second year? So.
Actually, I think he's even played before that. I want to say Mike White was drafted by the Cowboys in like 2019.
Oh, okay.
He just
Well,
has been
my apologies.
He's been a practice squad guy.
Yeah, clearly I did not do my research on that. I don't know why I thought he was a rookie, but
No, he's not a rookie. It's just he hasn't been exposed much, to national stage
hasn't had much opportunities yet.
or people who are homers like us.
Well, and I mean that explains probably why he was able to come in and do what he's done so far for the Jets is that he's had some time to be in multiple systems. He's had practices under his belt, so he's not a wide-eyed rookie. And clearly, he's his demeanor and his personality is striking the right chord with his fellow teammates.
One thing the Jets have done correctly is draft well. And I like their coach. He's disciplined. They're well coached. And if you think about it, you've got Zonovan Knight, right? And now James Robinson with Breece Hall out, who was another very good draft pick. So Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore are 2 young receivers that are a threat.
Yep.
So Michael Carter does get some receptions. He was the 2021 4th-round pick. He has 28 receptions for 209 yards and 3 touchdowns. So he does more in the receiving game, where James Robinson, who seems to be being pushed out, he only had 4 rushes for 10 yards last game. So I see now with Zonovan Knight getting receiving, I mean, he had 8 targets, 8 receptions last week.
Yeah.
I feel like he's more of the all-around package, so we have to watch out for that with the screen game, with the short run game.
For fantasy footballers, those that were able to get Zonovan White off the waivers this past week are probably feeling pretty good. Although it will be, you're always hesitant to start a player against a team like the Bills, even though the Bills have been susceptible to the run. They also are able to shut down the run at times. So it'll be interesting. It'll be a fun matchup to watch to see how our defense responds, especially without Vaughn, and see if that we can continue to have guys like Oliver and Rousseau and Lawson and Phillips, step up.
Edmund step up. And with White back, he pretty much was in there most every snap. It's exciting to have him back.
Yep.
And it'll be his first time seeing the Jets in over a year. As far as injuries go, Von Miller, we know, is on IR. He won't be back until at least the Cincinnati game. But with White, Rousseau, and Edmonds back to health, that's good. And Phillips, he did say that when he was diving at Mac Jones, he threw out his shoulder, but I think he's going to be fine. He played it off that way anyway. As far as the Buffalo's defense overall, their third down defense is still a bit shaky, but they're 10th in sacks, 2nd in interceptions, 10th in total yards against, and 3rd in points against per game. That's pretty solid. They're a top 10 defense, but the Jets, they come to play. They're 7th in sacks, 4th in interceptions, 4th in total yards per game, and 5th in points against. So they're going to be a lot to handle. If Josh is red hot, I don't think any defense can stop him, but he just needs to play a sound game.
Yeah, I don't see Allen throwing a gift to Sauce Gardner like he did last time, where he just threw it seemingly right to him. I mean, that was the game where we were wondering what was going on, like if he needed to get his eyes checked.
He was cross-eyed, but it was mostly that UCL injury, and I feel like last game when we saw him throw a sidearm, that gave a lot of encouragement that he might be back to full strength or close to it. And even though he didn't run a lot, he had 5 carries for 20 yards and then 3 other kneel downs. I feel like he will run again in this game, and that should make the difference.
more importantly, I hope that we're able to get the run game going again with Motor and Cook, which is going to be tough to do, but
Yeah, I do think a balanced attack is the way to go. And as much as they should light them up with a defense like this, you do kind of have to wear them out. And lately, we've been a lot better with our time of possession, eating up the clock. Not that we have to worry about, Mike White doing Mahomes things and scoring in 2 minutes, but we just need to be aware of what we're doing and not lose focus, because Ken Dorsey, first year offensive coordinator, he dials up the first 10 to 15 plays are normally really good, and then it starts to go down from there. And then third quarter, if you don't make your adjustments correctly, you end up doing a lot of the boring stuff that they do. And I feel like mixing it up with a couple of those jet sweeps with McKenzie or getting John Brown involved, those would be exciting. Maybe Knox, where we were talking 2 weeks ago, he had 7 receptions for 70 yards, and then last week, 1 reception for 15 yards.
yeah.
And then he had a toe injury.
Yeah.
And
We haven't seen a flea flicker in a long time.
no, we saw one in the Raiders game. Jacobs flicked it back to Carr, and then Carr threw a touchdown to Adams, and that was sweet.
When's the last time we ran one of those? We should do
When's
something.
the last time we did a trick play in general?
Been a minute.
Cole Beasley
Yeah.
had thrown a touchdown to Allen, I think, and that was 2, 3, 4 years ago when we beat. Or actually, no, we were up 16-0 on the Texans and lost in the playoffs.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
He caught a touchdown there.
Yeah, and then he did the smoke touchdown dance.
Yeah, man. So injuries, we're getting healthier. We're actually getting ready. This is the time of the year to shore up the defense and get everything solid and tight and healthy, and I think we're doing that. The remaining schedule, we play the Jets at home, then Miami at home, then we go to Chicago. That's a Saturday game on Christmas Eve. And then we've got Cincinnati in Cincinnati on Monday Night Football. It's our last primetime game. And then we finish the season against New England at home. So 4 of the next 5 games are 10 a.m. or 1 p.m. Eastern. And that's our remaining schedule for the regular season.
One thing I hope for this game coming up on Sunday, again, I think it just makes me feel better that we are at home again, and there's going to be plenty of motivation for the Bills. They're on a 3-game winning streak. They've fresh off of getting their first win in the AFC East. They want to make it 2 in a row. They obviously don't want to get swept by the Jets. And then Allen, like we talked about, Allen remembers what he did last time against the Jets, and he gave the game away to him.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, single-handedly. So there's plenty of motivation on the Bills side, but there's also plenty of motivation on the Jets side. The Jets just as badly want to get a sweep on us, and that the coach is going to be trying to motivate them coming in. And they did, like I said, after watching the highlights of the Vikings game, when they made a stop on 3rd down, it was the Vikings had the ball deep in their own territory. Jets had 3 timeouts left. They made a crucial stop on 3rd down. They did like a sweep play to Cook, like conservative.
Yeah.
Kind of like what we were talking about the Commanders, how conservative they went. But
It's so bad.
They got conservative. They just pretty much wanted to try to run more time off the clock and hope they got a run play for 10+ yards. Got stuffed. Jets get the ball back, and they had a chance if it weren't for a Berrios drop.
Yeah, Braxton
Berrios, he dropped a potential game-winning touchdown pass. So again, we definitely have to give credit to Mike White and give credit to this team, because even though they did lose, they are riding on some momentum, and they're clearly buying into the new quarterback.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I hope that our predictions are good to where we have a bit of a cushion. I wouldn't be surprised though if this ended up being one of those tight games that are 3-4 point decisions, just because it is a divisional game
For sure.
and the Jets defense is legit, and and it's impressive that our defense is a top 10 defense. Again, I've alluded to this many times. Stop me if you've heard this before, but to be a top 10 defense with all the adversity we've gone through this year and the depth changes, and so it's
they're both teams are well coached. They have good depth and good young players. I mean, Sauce Gardner is someone to worry about, and C.J. Mosley plays well against the Bills every time. Quinton Williams had a sack against us. Mosley did. Jermaine Johnson did. We need our offensive line to be healthy, play well together.
Speaking of that,
Dawkins?
yeah, the Snowman.
I don't know. Yeah, we don't know about the injury report yet as of filming this, but if something comes up, I will pop it up. Week 13 was a funky week. I mean, there were a lot of good matchups that it worked in the Bills' favor. It couldn't have gone any better, really. And the last game is the Saints and Bucks, and we're filming this before that game, but we just watched the Colts get blown out by the Cowboys.
Yeah. Cowboys set a franchise record for most points scored in the fourth quarter.
33 points in one quarter.
Yeah.
But also, Matt Ryan, he pulled a Nathan Peterman and just kept turning the ball over.
They completely just crumbled.
So, Greg, why don't you tell us about what happened in that parlay?
Yeah, so finally, I hit on an NFL pick'em parlay. I think I was 0 for 4 or something like that, and finally won. I hit on a 7-pick. It was an 8-pick originally. It got dwindled down to a 7-pick because the Commanders I picked winning against the Giants was a tie. Luckily, on DraftKings, they voided that, but then it dropped the odds down. So instead, I got 7 games picked correctly. Last one needing was the Cowboys, and I won $232 on a $25 bet. So not a bad weekend for me. Not only did the Bills win, not only did the Dolphins and the Chiefs lose, and the Jets lose, but capped it off with a nice little parlay win to put the sugar on top.
So let's get into free agency. We have a free agent right now in Odell Beckham Jr., who is in town on December 2nd. We had our executive chef, Darian Bryan, in Buffalo, cook up a gourmet 4-course menu for him. And Von Miller showed him around, I'm sure. They went to Josh Jones and played Madden and hung out and ate chicken wings and went to Italian restaurants and did all that stuff. But it's been suspiciously quiet online. And maybe Von said he wants to give him his space and let him make his decision because he wanted to go visit the Giants and then the Bills. And this week he's visiting the Cowboys, and they just had a blowout win. So, of course, they're the heavy favorites to pick Odell Beckham. But really, we don't know. If we did sign him, I mean, the only money we have, because we were down to $300K, was a restructured deal for Trey White to open up $2.5 million. So that would have to be, prorated for the rest of this season? And then what would you be comfortable with? A 1-year contract for this year, or a 2-year, 3-year, no contract?
I wouldn't want to do anything over a year. Just because he's coming off of 2
meaning
major.
This year?
I would go 1 season past this year because we're pretty much we're getting him with a month left to go in the regular season.
Okay.
I would be happy with a year after this, but nothing more than that, which is what he's wanting.
Yeah.
I wouldn't if I were the fly on McBean's.
Well,
I mean,
yeah, McBean works.
Well,
it's McDermott. And
if I was the
and
fly on Bean's wall, I would think that he wouldn't be committed to anything past the end of next year. Even maybe just doing a rental this year, but I don't think there's enough money to go with everything we're going to have to do this offseason. I know OBJ is going to want not only security in a multi-year deal, he's probably looking for a 2-3 year deal at best.
He's getting older,
preferably.
and he's not doing a workout. He's going in and visiting. So they have to assume that with his injury last year that he came back from, and he made it to the Super Bowl, would have been MVP if he had finished the game. They're like, okay, he's a pro.
They had him do a physical, right?
I don't think so. They haven't gotten to that point. He literally is just doing visits. He said he would not do routes. I don't know if he's doing physicals or not.
I mean, that's going to be something that has to be done.
Of course,
Yeah.
before you sign. But he said he'd make a decision because he gets to dictate where he's going to go if they even want him. Let's say he chooses the Bills and Bills are like, you're too rich for our blood, or we want you to do this, and he doesn't want to, then he just goes to the Cowboys or the Giants, and so be it.
I think as much as he would love to join Vaughn, and I'm sure Vaughn's talking to him on a daily basis, and I'm sure, the food that we made him was fantastic, and he probably had a great time with Allen. I think ultimately, this is just my feeling on it. I think he's going to choose the Cowboys. I think that there's just more money there to give him, and I think that Jerry Jones is more desperate than we are, and Jerry Jones is just sick of having to hear the media talk about the years without making a deep playoff run, and yeah, I think they're gonna dish him out at least a 2-year contract, maybe even 3, with it being kind of being structured in a team-friendly way where they could back out on that final year. And I just think that as much as Bean probably knows that we are a little weak on wide receiver depth, he also does a good job of drawing a line in the sand and really setting boundaries as a GM. And so I think that OBJ is going to want way more than what Bean is going to give, and there's not going to be much meeting in the middle. And it's going to be one of those, we wish you the very best, you're a talent, but we just don't have that money.
Sure.
And things are interesting because we did clear up some of that space or structure that contract for Trey White. But I just don't think that the money we cleared away is going to be enough, unless of course he does want to just do an end of the year rental type thing or approve
He wants
it.
another ring.
He does want another ring, obviously.
So
yeah.
are the Cowboys going to give that to him? Are the Bills going to?
But again,
You
I
know?
think though I can't speak for OBJ, but I just have a feeling that more than a ring, he wants that money and he wants the limelight of playing at AT&T Stadium and with the biggest screen in the
Think about that. I
NFL
actually thought about
and the
that a
star
lot.
on the helmet. And it's just,
I thought about that. Like, he goes to the Giants, been there, done that, right? Maybe
yeah, that's
there's-
why I don't think
maybe he's been like, oh, you know, like maybe there was a little bit of sentimental feelings in
Oh,
there,
for
but then
sure.
he's like, then he comes to Buffalo, he sees our weight room facility, all that, and then he sees our stadium, like, oh, you're building a new one in 2026. I won't be on your team then, so who cares, right? So you're playing in a crappy stadium, according to your friend. Great environment, get a hold of a stadium, and then you go to a $6 billion stadium like AT&T, and we can't compete with that. But as far as the culture goes, it's great. Free agents and impending free agents like Tim Settle had said, I'm going to do whatever it takes to stay in Buffalo. That's what you want to hear.
for sure.
Remember when it was
yeah.
never a destination, when Brown wouldn't come here, and then you got other guys that are like, no, I'm good. You know,
Yeah.
it's Buffalo, and
And
hear all-
you bring up a good point in that like you never want to have to beg someone to come, and that used to be how it was. We had to beg people with money and whatever, and
Mario
yeah,
Williams was a huge deal.
Yeah, and you could say that we did that to an extent with Von Miller, but at the same time, Von Miller did want it took some convincing, and yes, money made a difference. But overall, we've had like Milano and Poyer situations and other situations where they truly did want to just stay. You know,
Josh Allen effect.
yeah, and so yeah, you don't want to see anyone be desperate and beg someone to come. And I think that Brandon Beane can wear his, in certain moments, he can wear his heart on his sleeve, especially on that end of season press conference last year when he really showed his emotions about how he felt about the loss to the Chiefs and how much he truly cares about Buffalo and the city and the people, and he kind of knows the bad rap that it can get.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think that he wouldn't go out of his way to pay a guy like OBJ unless they really wanted to be here for the right reasons. And I think that, yeah, we need some extra help, and we could use some extra help, but we've already gone through so much adversity this year that if we don't get OBJ, I'm not going to be stressing it, because we've already been tested in so many different ways that, you know, it's just if we are able to make a deep playoff run, it just adds to the story, everything we've been through to this point and the ups and downs, and it's really been a wild ride. And you know, I don't know why we shouldn't have ever expected it was going to be easy, even though that first month made it look like it was going to be just we were going to be able to coast to a division title, you know, and it's never going to be that way. So I think if we don't get OBJ, it's just going to be one more obstacle we have to overcome and figure it out. But I'm not sweating it. I you know, if he doesn't want to come here for the right reasons, and he wants, you know, and I can't be mad at him for wanting to get money and security for his last chance at a payday. But at the end of the day, we've got enough. We might be getting Kumaro back too at some point healthy. I do wish we wouldn't have gotten rid of Isaiah Hodgins. He's starting to produce very well.
Yeah, Hodgins did well for the
Isaiah
Giants.
Hodgins. He's producing for the Giants now, so I just wish we would have been able to keep him. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the OBJ thing.
I didn't expect 20 minutes of this, but you know what? We had extra time, so that's good. Yeah. I mean, really, I want to talk about a few other things, and that would be the other matchups in the league. But what I did over the weekend was watch American Underdog. That's the Kurt Warner story, and, you know, the biopic on him. I'll tell you what, it's a tearjerker. Because what's crazy is it's written like a Hallmark story. It really is. Like one of those holiday movies.
It's not
But
as
it's
cheesy,
real.
is it?
No, it's
Yeah,
good.
that's
It's good. And the guy that plays him, you know, looks close enough to him. And the story just
Started
makes you-
out bagging groceries and
Yeah, I mean, he played for an arena team for 3 or 4 years. You know what's funny? What I learned in the movie, Mike Holmgren actually signed him to the Packers in '94 or something. He was obviously playing like 4th or 5th string practice, but he got a $5,000 signing bonus and bought a car, and was like, because he didn't have much money at all, you know, and
modest,
and then he went and did the arena league because you know why he got cut? He was at practice for 2 days and got cut. They said, okay, well, your turn. Let's go out here. Well, you know what they called him was Pop Warner instead of Kurt Warner.
Really?
They brought him out there, you know, because he was older, so they were
Yeah.
calling him Pop Warner. He went out. He told the coach. He told Mariucci. He said, "I'm not ready. I'm still learning the system." Holmgren wouldn't take credit for firing him or cutting him, so it
Yeah.
was actually Mariucci. And they're on the same set for pregame shows and
Yeah.
during the games. And they've obviously, he goes, it's the best thing that could have happened to me because I wasn't ready. I wasn't.
Yeah.
And so he worked for the Arena League, worked his way into it, was the backup for Trent Green, and he got hurt the opening game, and Kurt Warner went in there in 99 season, and they won the Super Bowl that year with him. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
They went to the Super Bowl in 01, and then he went to Phoenix, the Arizona, and they, did really
Got
well
them to
with
the
him.
Super Bowl.
Yeah, so it just gave me chills seeing somebody who was undrafted, ignored for like 5 seasons, and then finally he never gave up, and he found someone that supported him and believed in him, and he made it. Mm-hmm. And anyway, it gave
He had
me
a big chip on his shoulder.
yeah
That motivation when someone laughs at you or like tells you you're not good enough, makes fun of your name or how old you are. Or,
Yeah.
And then like how awesome that felt when he was raising up that fucking trophy when he had Arena League people mocking him, and then he's raising up the trophy for the NFL.
Yeah, it was such a faster game. His biggest struggle was 3-step drop, boom, throw it, right? Because he was getting drilled in practice and getting yelled at. And in college, he was actually getting hit hard, and the coach was like, stay in the pocket. Because believe it or not, Kurt Warner only had like 280 yards in his entire NFL career. He would scramble to buy time. But in the Arena League, it taught him to make a quicker decision, and that the game actually slowed down for him after everyone was coming right at him with half the field. That's my recommendation, is to go watch that if you haven't. It's not necessarily a holiday movie, but it does have a Hallmark feel to it. And then the last thing is the other NFL matchups for Week 14. I figure we just fire through real quick. We've got the Raiders playing the Rams, and right now the Raiders are favorites by 5.5. I'm assuming the Raiders can win that because Stafford's out for the year, even though his backup did pretty well.
I do think the Raiders are going to win that one, and they could clearly, their main motivation is getting back to 500, and they're 2 wins away from doing that. They had a horrible start to the season. Now you've got Carr starting to come on. That chemistry between him and Devontae Adams is in full effect.
Oh yeah,
now.
oh yeah. And Jacobs is ripping it up.
And Jacobs is running great. Their offensive line is starting to come together real nice. So yeah, I think the Raiders. You want to talk about having a chip on your shoulder? I think the Raiders are carrying a big one right now. They were not happy with how the season started, and they could be one of those sneaky kind of trying to get onto that back in the hunt, and climb the ladder at the end of the season for the last month.
All right, then we've got the Bengals playing the Browns. Obviously, that's going to be a tough matchup as a division rival, and with Watson having a game under his belt after 700 days.
I sure hope he looks better than he did against the Texans.
Holy cow, they wouldn't have won if it wasn't for the defense scoring 3 touchdowns. So with Cincinnati playing so well against the Chiefs, they've had their number. I feel like the Bengals might still roll.
I don't see the Bengals the Bengals have been playing we talked.
We
got to
worry about them when we play them.
I think they might be one of the best teams in the AFC as far as how they've played the last month.
Yeah,
and they just again beat the Chiefs. So yeah, I mean, I don't see this being a letdown for them, and maybe Deshaun Watson continues to get warmed up after being not playing live football for so long, but
it's basically him getting warmed up for next season. Because their season's over. I mean, they're 5-7.
Pretty much, yeah.
They're not really going to do much. And then you've got Minnesota, 10-2, playing the Lions. The Lions have been a lot stronger. They've won 4 of their last 5 games, and Minnesota is only a 1-point favorite right now.
Yeah, I think this is one of those pick'ems actually. If you're in the betting world, I guess with the record, obviously a 10-2 team versus 5-7 on paper, you would usually just think that no matter what, that the 10-2 team is going to win. But the Lions team is better than the record shows. That's the only reason I hesitate.
Yeah.
Not that I'm not underestimating the Vikings. They're a legit team and they can be a contender for the Super Bowl this year. But I could see the Lions showing up and making it a little bit tough for them. So,
well, we've got another interdivision rival with Philly playing the Giants. The Eagles are 11-1, and the Giants are 7-4-1. They just had that stupid tie against the Commanders.
Yep.
I hate ties.
Ties suck.
They are really stupid. They need to come up with some. I don't even care if it's a coin flip. I mean, it's a regular season. Just do something other than a friggin' tie. I really like the idea of starting at the 30 and having a kickoff.
That would be fun.
like your kickers. Then Justin Tucker would obviously make a big difference in the league. But you start, you both make a 30-yarder. Like think about hockey, right? A
Yep.
shootout or something, you know,
Yep.
you get 5 people to do it. You do 30, 35, 40, 45,
be
50
fun.
until someone misses.
I would love it. I love field goal kicking. I like it. That would be fantastic.
But hopefully, the Giants can play tough because I'm rooting for Dable, and I do like Barkley. He's on my team, my fantasy football team. Jones, obviously he's on his 5th year right now, and he's not going to get re-signed, or
Maybe we don't know yet.
I think he's 4 years, and he may not get his 5th year option. They already declined it. But then you've got the Chiefs playing Denver. I mean, a 9-3 versus 3-9 team. There's no way that Wilson is going to beat Mahomes.
No way.
Kelsey was allegedly under the weather last week with the flu or whatnot, and he coughed one up. It's a rare fumble, and it proved costly, and they lost.
And this is not like wishing any ill will on Patrick Mahomes. This is just theoretically speaking, and more just in jest of how bad the Broncos are. Even if Mahomes was out for the whole game or most of the game, I think that the Broncos would still find a way to lose this game.
I think Mahomes could beat them left-handed. I mean, the guy.
Dude, it is rough for Denver right now, man, and it's just getting worse. And I don't think Nathaniel Hackett's going to make it to the end of the week before getting fired.
I was going to say he might not. By the time we're talking, he may be gone.
They're going to have to try to do the whole interim head coach, like invigorate the team and bring in a new spark. I would be shocked if Nathaniel Hackett's still coaching the team going up against the Chiefs, unless they're just so pissed now, the front office for the Broncos, if they're just so over it now that they just want to put him into one more buzzsaw against the Chiefs and then shit can him.
Seattle is playing the Panthers, so the Carolina Panthers are underdogs by 6 points. I think Seattle wins that.
Yep, I do too. I just don't think that the Panthers have anything really that's motivating them right now. They're out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Well, they're not out of the playoffs actually with the NFC South that they're in.
Yeah.
But who's playing for them? And now is it Sam Darnold now or Baker that's in? Sam
Darnold
Darnold
was in there last.
So
time.
they're on a quarterback carousel. Anytime you're on a quarterback carousel is not good. And I think
Geno Smith still looks good.
Yes, Geno Smith is playing great ball still. So.
And then we get to the best team in the league, the Houston Texans, 1-10-1, playing a team that's on a hot streak
This might
right
be
now.
another good parlay week. I'm not gonna lie, seeing some of these matchups.
Seriously, Dallas is 9-3, and they just came off of a huge win.
Yeah.
And
The Texans can't do anything right now.
Dallas is favored by almost 16 points, and they're probably going to win by more than that.
I mean, that's why you wonder why I traded Dameon Pierce.
Oh man, I know.
This was his last good game. He now goes up against the Cowboys. Then he has the Chiefs. It's going to be a game script for multiple weeks where the Texans are going to be in a deep hole, and I highly doubt they're going to be giving it to Dameon Pierce. Hell, they didn't even this week. Dameon Pierce could have had like a 15-plus point fantasy game. He ended up putting up, I think, 10 or something, 10 or 11. They continue to not give him the ball in the red zone. Like, there was multiple times where they just didn't feed him the ball. And
I saw that. Or the backup got it.
Yeah, so, I don't know. Quick fantasy talk. If you didn't trade Dameon Pierce already, you're probably...
Too late?
Yeah, well, yeah, because trade deadline's probably gone. If trade deadline hasn't gone yet, I would... Well, he's coming off of what I think is going to be his last good performance. I would definitely trade him now if you still have an open trade. The deadline usually has passed in most leagues, but I got rid of him. I got rid of Cortland Sutton. I sold kind of high on Cortland Sutton because I just have no more faith in the Broncos.
Yeah, they're a dumpster fire right
And who else did I sell? I got rid of Tyler Algier several weeks ago as well.
With Patterson back, it makes sense.
Yeah, but there's just some of those players where you just got to kind of look ahead, and sometimes you're wrong, but just kind of going with your instinct on how they seem to be trending, and just seeing the strength of schedule, and I don't know, it just seemed like an easy decision for me, and so far I haven't regretted it. But Michael Pittman's another one that I got rid of, and
you straight up cut him in my league,
and I straight up cut him in your league. I traded him in my league, and he put up 2.5 points this week. Granted, he can still put up some good ones here and there, but again, it was just an offense I didn't trust anymore.
Yep.
And once I saw that Jeff Saturday was, I don't know, it's like that honeymoon phase where he came in, it was a new face, but now you're starting to kind of see them kind of go back to...
As an offensive lineman, I thought Jonathan Taylor would light it up, and he had a okay game.
Yeah, and Michael Pittman is their most talented wide receiver, but he didn't get many targets against the Cowboys. So.
The Cowboys got more targets than the Colts receivers did. So then we have Tennessee playing Jacksonville. Tennessee right now is 3.5-point favorite. It looks like Trevor Lawrence avoided a major injury. It looked pretty bad, but he bounced back and came back in. Maybe he was playing through an injury that was more serious. We won't know yet.
Yep.
But the Titans, when you can bottle up King Henry, you're good. But when you can't, it's pretty much over. I mean, Ryan Tannehill, when he was in Miami, struggled a lot. And then with Tennessee, he's got a smart coach. He's got good talent around him. At least he did before they got rid of A.J. Brown.
Yeah, you can definitely I mean, his play
He's missing,
is starting to fall off a little bit.
Yeah.
He's definitely relying on the run game a lot, and just numbers-wise, he's not flashy. Maybe he never really was that flashy, but I feel like 2-3 years ago, it was more like...
Oh, he had a good streak.
Really.
Yeah.
This year, particularly, even the end of last year, things have just seemed to kind of simmer down as far as just him really being confident and having the... Granted, you said A.J. Brown gone is a huge loss.
They got rid of Corey Davis, A.J. Brown. They got rid of the tight ends that he used. I mean, Johnny Smith. They got rid of all those guys that were any target for him.
Yeah.
So
with that said, I do think that they are going to beat Jacksonville. Again, it depends a lot on the health of Trevor Lawrence, but I just think that in Tennessee, Mike Vrabel's still an amazing coach. I think it'll be a brawl. It'll be that classic close divisional game, but
we've got Baltimore Ravens playing Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers have been playing tough lately, and they are still below 500, and Tomlin might finish with below 500.
Tomlin is definitely dead set on making sure he doesn't, he wants just
5
more than anyone. He doesn't want, he's got a lot of pride, and rightfully so. And
what we don't know at this point is how serious Lamar Jackson's or injury was.
Yeah.
So right now his backup led them to a victory, but it was against the Broncos. That one should be a good game.
Yeah,
actually.
I'm going with the Ravens if Lamar's healthy, but it could be another close one.
Even without him, I think that's a pretty close matchup.
Pickens, Pickens and Pickett, they're both rookies that are starting to find their way a little bit. They're getting more comfortable within the system, and and then you add in Najee Harris starting to run well again.
We've got Tampa Bay playing San Francisco. Now, Jimmy G is out for the year with a broken foot or some sort of surgical repair that's going to take him out for the rest of the year. That's going to be a lot tougher. It would have been cool to see Jimmy G going against Tom Brady, but we're not going to get that.
No.
San Francisco's more talented, but I think Brady's been in a lull for so long that he's got to snap out of it. It's going to be a good game as well.
Yeah, I'll take the Bucs on that one.
Okay. The last game I have on here is the Dolphins playing the Chargers. That's going to be a hell of a game.
Great Sunday night game.
Yep. And right now, Miami's actually favored by 2. I think the Chargers are a good team. And Herbert, when he's protected, he can really sling it. And seeing some passes thrown to Keenan Allen, maybe Mike Williams will be back.
I think the Chargers have the better quarterback, and I'm not saying it's like
Tua is pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not saying there's a huge gap.
Yeah.
Because Tua is playing great.
He is more gifted.
But I think that the Dolphins have the better coach.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be the difference.
Yeah.
I see Miami winning this. I think it's going to be an exciting game, but I do think the Dolphins are going to be a little pissed off after losing, and they're going to have that pressure of keeping pace with the Bills now. I just think the Chargers, as good as they are, and the talent, and they got, like you said, they got Keenan Allen healthy again. And Mike Williams back again?
He wasn't this past week, but I feel like it was an injury that didn't land him on IR. So
and you got Gerald Everett, who's playing sneakily good at tight end. He's reliable, but I don't know. Just they seem to be able to piss wins down their leg often, and they do take a lot of chances, and that starts with their head coach. But sometimes those chances don't pay off. They had another 4th down conversion that didn't pay off today, and I don't know. I think I trust the Dolphins coaching staff more than I do the Chargers.
Yeah. Well, that is week 14 of the NFL. That's the preview. And the Buffalo Bills will take on the New York Jets at Highmark Stadium. And my prediction was 31-15. Yours was 33-20. The implied score based on the spread is 27-18 Bills. So we will find out. Let us know your predictions in the comments. And maybe you can win a Josh Allen card. We'll pick a lucky winner.
Speaking of that.
Oh, yeah. I've got a Josh Allen card right here. This right here is a 2021 Clearly Donruss Football Josh Allen My House. I picked this card because they're playing at his house.
Finally.
Yep.
After about a month.
It's been a while for sure. This is a die cut card. So it's like the Clearly stuff is where you can see through the card. It's on an acetate plastic. and this is cut at some crazy angles. I like it. It's a cool card, and it's a case hit. What do you have on your side?
I have got a 2022 Panini The National Josh Allen case breaker, super short print, 113 of 199. It's got the comic book graphics, which are always super cool.
Yeah, so the non-numbered is a case hit, and that's the short print of 199. So out of all the cards where that could be found in a case of usually 12 boxes of cards, you land one of the case breakers. This one happens to be Josh Allen.
Pretty dang cool.
And it happens to be numbered.
I would like to give a quick shout out to the Buffalo Sabres. They got another W against the Sharks. We recorded this Monday. So earlier today, they got another win. They're starting to get back on track again, even though they seem to be very hot and cold.
Yeah, when they're up by 3 goals and they let 4 go by them.
But they are in the upper top half of points scored.
Oh, they're scoring a lot. It's fun. It's fun.
So if we can just get some consistent goalie play, we may actually have a chance to be talking about sniffing a playoff berth down the line
for the first time in well over a decade.
Yeah, but shout out to them. They're definitely making things more entertaining these days. So.
There's one more thing I wanted to say. I introduced you to the sponge candy from Buffalo. You remember trying it?
Yep.
What did you think?
I liked it.
Yeah? You want to try it again?
I'll try another one.
It's getting a little beat up from carrying it around. I brought this home from Buffalo.
It's interesting.
It does look like actual sponge, like from the ocean.
Yeah.
But as you chew it, it dissolves with the chocolate. It's good.
I'm going to wash it down with some refreshing Liquid Death sparkling water. Murder your thirst.
What else have I introduced you to from Buffalo?
The famous hot dog.
Salen's hot dog?
Salen, right?
Yep.
Salen's famous. So yeah, you introduced me to the Salen's hot dog, one of the best hot dogs I've ever had. And it wasn't even...
Chark broiled?
Well, yeah, it wasn't even... Yeah, you introduced me to pizza rolls. That when we went to Tinker Tavern, that was my first time ever having a Buffalo pizza roll.
I can make those. There's you use a wonton roll, and you wrap string cheese in it with pepperoni, and then when you roll it tightly, you can actually do it in like a wrought iron pan with like a canola oil, or you can deep fry it, and then you just dip it in some marinara sauce, and you've got pizza rolls.
Delicious, man.
They're pretty dang good. But I'm glad that I could convert a South Dakota. What do you call yourself?
South Dakotan.
South Dakotan, really?
South Dakotan.
Like I'm a New Yorker, right?
Yeah,
I'm a Buffalonian.
I'm a South Dakotan.
I'm a Portlander. Oh. We're on the outskirts of Portland. Not actually in Portland where all the homeless and
I live in
weirdos
Portland.
are.
I live right in the
That's true. You
city.
live in the heart of it.
Yeah.
He lives over by the Providence Park where the Portland Timbers play.
Mm-hmm. I do have one more message for Bill's Mafia. Whoever's going to the game on Sunday, make it loud. Have fun at the Ralph or the Mark or whatever the hell you want to call
Highmark?
it. Yeah, the Highmark. No. Have fun at the Ralph.
Highmark Stadium.
Tailgate your asses off. Pound some Labatt's. Jump through some tables responsibly. And as always, take a few hydration breaks. Have a good time. Make it loud on those Jets. Let's get ourselves another divisional win.
And that's going to do it for episode 23 of The House that Alan Built. I'm Scott Kinmartin. With me, as always,
Greg Vollmer.
We'll see you next time.
Let's
go Buffalo!
All right.
Got it. Let's get you home.
Got him.
Got him!
That's good. That's good. That's a good villain laugh.
Until next time, catch it. It's got a nice little reverb.
You think darkness is your ally?
Oh, Bane.
Adapted to dark. I was born in it.
Let's go, Buffalo! Hold on, I gotta itch my balls. All right, the Bills play the Jets, episode 23. Remember not to...
Yeah.
Can be the
Did
last
you
thing.
did you copy my score?
No, I did not. No.
I know. I'm just.
No, I didn't, I promise
They're
you.
really close.
I know they are. They
I'm
have
also
been.
kind of regretting. Like, well, I think I might change
Change
mine.
it. Change it now. You know
like-
why I think 15? I think they're only going to get field goals. I'm hoping.
That would be amazing. I'm just thinking that I didn't give the Jets enough credit just because.
Okay, then go 20. What
I'm
do
gonna
you
go 33? Yeah, 33-20.
20?
Yep, 33-20 Buffalo.
33-20. Deal.
And then you've got the whole team this week embracing Zach White,
Mike
and-
White.
Yeah, so the whole team embracing Matt White, Mike White.
Jesus Christ. Are you ever going to get that right? Jesus Christ.
It's like, good God, for the love of God and all things holy.
Okay.
One sec, man.
You have that
How-
you can look at while you're doing it. It's a monitor. I'm proud of you. Good job.
Jesus Christ.
Go ahead.
In the arms of the angel.
You introduced me to that was one of the best.
Apparently, this chocolate has left him speechless.
Drink some, pound some Jesus. All right. And as always, take a few hydration breaks. Have a good time. Make it loud on those Jets. Let's get ourselves another divisional win.